right, good evening, Shotcaller Nation. It's your boy Rich coming back at you another week. The All-Star game break has passed, and we're back to work because that's what we do. We're dedicated to the game. We're dedicated to you guys. We're ready to talk about the ins and outs, the ups and downs of tonight's national games. Before we get started with that, I did want to let you guys know that you guys can follow the podcast, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Stitcher, Anchor.fm, anywhere podcasts are bought and sold. Thank you for watching us on YouTube.com. Search up the Shotcallers NBA podcast. You'll find us. Please like, subscribe, hit the comment button, leave us a comment, leave us some feedback, and we'll get right back to you. And please follow us on social media to keep up with the ins and outs of our contests. Chat with us, chop it up about the game. That's at Shotcallers Show on both Twitter and Instagram. Place your bets on who's going to win this week's matchups, just like we did today for the Nets and the Celtics and the Warriors and the Clippers. Shout out to Robin for putting that together for us. And before we get to our breakdowns, in keeping with the values of our podcast, in keeping with the values of our show, we're going to go beyond the court and talk about those things that are most important, not just to people that are interested in the NBA, but people all over the world, human interests. Mm-hmm. And something that Kyle really wanted to kind of take us into, something that might have been in the news recently. You want to go ahead and get us started, Kyle?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. Obviously, you guys, or I'm sure a lot of you guys listening in will have heard about this story already about Miles Leonard saying a racial slur on his Twitch stream, or not a racial slur, anti-Semitic slur, and it's he's gotten a lot of backlash now. He's been fined by the NBA and suspended a couple games. But it's really egregious how so many people can have like these moments where they like let out like a slur like this, especially in the way that he did it. Like while he was talking, like right before he said it, he even took a moment and then still said the slur.
I do want to paint the
Uh,
picture just a little bit.
yeah.
It's on Twitter. You can see it out there, even
Mhm.
though
Mhm.
I believe the stream isn't available on Twitch any longer. Of course,
Yeah,
everything lives
yeah.
forever on the internet. Myers was playing, I think it was Call of Duty.
Call
Call
of
of
Duty
Duty,
Warzone, yeah.
streaming his matches and gaming with a buddy because you could hear him talking to someone else on the microphone. I guess he died or lost
N-
his life in that round.
He
And
didn't even die. Like he was just getting shot at.
yeah,
Uh,
I guess while he was playing, he got himself worked up and you know made a very uh, harming, damaging, anti-Semitic slur in the direction of his
Hateful.
opposing player. Yes, exactly. And I think he's come out and said that he didn't mean to. It
He
was kind of an accident,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
you don't say things on an accident that you never say.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that you say.
Mhm. Yeah, and the thing about it too is like the slur that he used is a pretty obscure slur. It's not like the N-word or other words like that. It's a pretty obscure slur. Like to say it, like you have to know what it means, and
Mhm.
like you've used it in the past before, like commonly.
You don't
So
hear that in a lot of songs.
yeah, no. You don't hear anything like that. You have to know what it means. I didn't know what it meant like until a couple years ago. It's like learning a bad word in another language, pretty much. Like
Hmm.
you have to like know what it is to in order to say it. And he even, like I said, he took a moment and thought about what he was about to say and still said it. And it's just it's outrageous, really. Like to say something like that on stream. Uh, I've seen recent reports that he's been cut from FaZe because he was sponsored by FaZe previously. He lost his sponsors that went along with FaZe as well. Banned off Twitch and then uh, suspended. I believe like 10 games from the NBA and
I don't think it was 10
uh,
games. He was suspended one
or
week from the
mm,
NBA. He's
oh
been
yeah, yeah,
fined
1 week. Mm,
$50,000,
yeah.
which
Mhm.
to some it might strike as like not a slap on the wrist, but it
Mhm.
is the top penalty that you can earn for contact conduct detrimental to the NBA and
Hmm.
its interest, according to the collective bargaining agreement, which is agreed upon between the players' union and the owners whenever they're doing their,
Hmm.
7 years long kind of labor agreement. So
Hmm.
it may seem like a slap on the wrist, but other things that happened like this in the past have been met with similar penalties. So it is the highest they can get. One kind of strange thing is he would be getting docked his game pay, which is around a few $100,000 per game. But since
Hmm.
he's injured and not playing right now, he's eligible for that, income, even though the suspension is happening. So he's not getting docked that.
Yeah.
Although he would be in a normal circumstance. So kind of strange. And thanks for bringing this to the attention, Kyle. We wanted to put this at the
Yeah.
very front of the show because, people that have listened in the past during the bubble when Andre and I were all here together, we always love to show off with the most important things regarding, humanity, being good to
Hmm.
each other, voting, and expressing yourselves and being free
Yeah.
to explore your
Supporting one
human
another.
rights, no matter what country you're in. We actually have listeners in like Scotland and the Ukraine and things like that, which
Hmm.
is really awesome. We love that people from all over the world listen in. We appreciate everyone equally, no matter who you are, what you look like, or where you're from. So
Hmm.
uh, I think we can all say confidently that the shot callers are against any sort of hate speech or bigotry in any way.
Hmm. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get on to these Thursday night games.
Yeah, man. So just to compare the two, which one was the more exciting one? Definitely the first one. And that's why I'm going to jump
Yeah.
in and talk about the Boston Celtics taking on the Brooklyn Nets. And I think, and so, man, those jerseys, what do you guys think of the earned jerseys by the Brooklyn Nets? That kind of wavy, triangular, gray,
Hmm.
black pattern? Thought it looked great. I thought the game was exciting. I thought that initially was going to be a little underwhelming because Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum did not get
Yeah.
off to a hot start, but somehow
Hmm.
the Celtics were up by about 10 points all through the first quarter, second quarter. Not a lot of shot creation going on from guys other than Kyrie Irving, who had an immaculate game. And then the third quarter rolls around. Jason Tatum shows up, hits a three. Jaylen Brown starts hitting his three. They break the seal. They're making tough shots, contested shots, driving to the rim. Marcus Smart is back. Kemba Walker's back. Kemba Walker came out with a quick three, driving to the rim, trying to get things going in traffic. And then just on the other side, the Brooklyn Nets, Bruce Brown, Kyrie Irving. Um,
Hmm.
Kyrie Irving just put on a
Yeah.
masterclass, like I was saying. He
Yeah.
he put Kemba Walker. He was like, Kemba, we are not the same. I know that I left the Celtics and you became my replacement, but in no way did you replace me when we're both playing at our heights. They're similar in stature, but the handle is so much tighter from Kyrie Irving. The layup package is immaculate, and the
Hmm.
body control to finish in every type of way over any kind of length around the rim was super impressive. Like when you bring the stats up for these guys, things look pretty similar on paper. The shot distribution or the percentages of makes 45% from the field for Boston, 47% from the Nets. They out rebounded the Celtics by about six. The steals were heavily in Boston's favor. The blocks were heavily in Boston's favor. Shout out to Robert Williams, Time Lord. And turnovers,
Yeah.
they
I
actually had
agree.
more from the Nets, which kind of doesn't seem like it's going to add up to a Nets win. They won handily by 12, and that was with a late flurry from Kyrie Irving and company. Really turning over the ball from the Celtics. Marcus Smart couldn't do much. He had a great block, but still ended up in 3 points from the on the
Yeah.
net
Yeah. I
side.
remember that.
So a lot of great stuff that happened both ways, but just some execution from Kyrie Irving really put him over the top. And sometimes it is that simple. I was just in awe at at the array of moves that he could string together. It was like it was endless. It was like when you play NBA Street and you press the dribble button and you just combine X into A into B into Y. He can do them all
I.
together and he doesn't lose dribble and nobody strips him. Like he had one turnover that I can remember. But besides that, a nearly flawless game from Kyrie Irving, and I am so excited to see Kevin Durant come back. And even when Kyrie Irving went to the bench, James Harden came right back out there. It took me this long
Mhm.
to bring up James Harden. So
Yeah. For.
just like the punches never stop coming, and it's made me so excited to look to the playoffs and to those later rounds where they might match up with the Philly or the Bucks to see how that goes. What? And I've been talking forever, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it to Robin. Robin, what's your biggest takeaway from this game? What's your smallest takeaway from this game?
Biggest takeaway would obviously, not obviously, but for me, it's going to be about Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. Who's going to be that second guy? Because obviously Tatum's their go-to guy, but who's going to be the second guy to go to when Tatum goes to the bench? With Kyrie went to the bench, you had James Harden step up, and it just felt like Boston couldn't catch a break. When Jason Tatum went to the bench, that's when the Nets made their run. Jaylen Brown was, I think, like 4-5 for 23.
Hmm.
He's just chucking up shots at this point. He should have just stopped at some point. Marcus Smart was a little good spark. He's going to be that guy that gives them energy. But if they want to kind of go deep into the playoffs, which I figured, they're going to make that late season push to try to get into the playoffs, and nobody would want to play them in the playoffs, they got to kind of win these games with the no KD Nets. This is a game they should have won. But Kyrie Irving had me in awe. He scored from everywhere, anyway, like fadeaways. He got to the probably the best finisher in the league, in my opinion. Left hand, right hand, it doesn't matter. He's fun to watch. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it started out in the first quarter. I thought it was gonna be like Kyrie Irving versus Kemba Walker because the reason why Boston got out to a good lead because Kemba Walker came out scoring and one of the most underrated things about both of them was their defense. Uh, Kemba had some great steals. He good deflections like on players going up and on the fast break. And then same thing with Kyrie. Like uh, even though Kyrie and James Harden aren't really known for their defense, obviously, but like both of them are like really smart with their hands and they know how to get deflections and blocks when they really need it. And so I feel like that was one of the most underrated parts of this game. Like I feel that Kemba Walker like played really good on defense, especially in the first quarter. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to step up like throughout the game and contribute
Well,
scoring
that's a
wise.
that's a theme, man. And I know we always talk about the national games because we want to be so accessible to our
Mm-hmm,
fans, of course, and it's fun.
mm-hmm,
But if you watch other Celtics games going on throughout the year, when he is playing, he's been battling his health his entire stint in Boston so far. He'll come out hot certain games, but as the third quarter
mm-hmm,
comes around, maybe it's the halftime where he gets cold. When Dirk was 39 years old, when it came to halftime,
mm-hmm,
his biggest struggle was staying warm on the bench so that when he went back in, he could stay in a rhythm and
mm-hmm,
keep his sweat going and keep his mechanics going fluidly. You would see him doing leg raises on the bench, stretching out, getting
mm-hmm.
on the bike. Steve Nash did the same exact thing. Maybe Kemba Walker has to get on this old man routine because that guy just comes off a cliff. It's a steady decline throughout the game. Like where was he? And when it's crunch time, they can
mm-hmm.
go to him, but if he's not warm, it's hit or miss. So how is he going to
Uh,
overcome something like that?
I mean, the past couple of games, like, because both of these teams came into this game with, I believe, a 3 game or a 4 game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
And in all those games, Kemba Walker was playing like really well. He was scoring like 20, 30 each game. So he was what Boston was expecting when they first acquired him, like last year, a year and a half ago, or whatnot. Uh, so I was one of the questions was. Is Kemba Walker going to keep up his form? And in the first quarter, it looked like it was, but obviously it dropped off. And another question mark that was on Boston was Marcus Smart. Like how many minutes is he going to get? How is he going to contribute? Is he going to like have an immediate impact on defense and on offense? And throughout this game, he was on limited minutes, but I think he did. He made great impact on offense. He came out and hit his first 2 shots. Uh, kind of kept Boston in the lead, or for the first half,
No, for
because
sure. Yeah, the
uh,
Nets had a great closeout, knockout
mhm,
punch. And just to
mhm.
rip on Kemba one more time, 9 points in the first quarter, nothing in the second quarter, and
Yeah.
then second half he had. Guess how many points he had? Just without looking at your notes right now, 2 points. Robin's got it right
Oh.
there. So like, yeah, you can be hot over a small stretch, but you got to be
Right.
on the
Yeah.
court. Just ask
Mhm,
fans of Kristaps Porzingis. You got to be on the court and available and producing for long stretches for us to call you real. That's why it's taken 4 years for us to really acknowledge Joel Embiid as an MVP because he's doing it for 20 something games at a time.
mhm,
That's what's
mhm.
needed. So
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing about Oh, that's vintage Kemba Walker right there. I'm tired of vintage Kemba Walker. I want 2021 Kemba Walker. That's what I want. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
Kemba Walker from last week. That's Kemba Walker from 3 games ago. That's what I want.
Hmm.
You got something to say right there, Robin? I see you smiling.
Um, but I think to a certain point, it's the fact that he's not gonna have the ball in his hands as much as he did in Charlotte. I mean, you have Jason Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown. Those two people are gonna demand the ball, not demand the ball, but you're gonna give them the ball if they're on your team because they're so talented and
You're
young,
supposed to.
and You're gonna grow around them. So when he was hot in the first quarter, I felt like in the second quarter, Tatum started getting going. The third quarter, Tatum stayed hot. And then eventually, when Tatum went to the bench and Jaylen Brown was still struggling, then you started getting Kemba the ball, but he hasn't really touched the ball that so much since the first quarter. So I feel like it's more about three people who are kind of ball dominant. In reality, there's only one ball. So one of them is going to start struggling, get cold. It's just one of those things that, he has to get adjusted to, knowing that he's not going to have the ball in his hands at the whole, like, throughout the game.
I
It,
mean,
it,
James Harden and
uh,
Kyrie Irving have kind of worked this out in a lot less time. I know they're great,
yeah.
amazing players. What were you saying, Kyle?
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that. Like, it's funny that we're saying that about Boston because that's literally the questions we're asking Brooklyn like a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, and they seem to work out pretty well. I mean, obviously they still need to get KD back in the lineup, but they've been able to work it out pretty well. And I'm sure it's because they're all veterans. Like they've been in this game for a minute and they know the goal. Two of them are champions, and James Harden is open to listening to champions so he can get one himself.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's why he's been able to conform to their system pretty well. And then also uh, on the opposite end with Boston, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, both of them are really young and uh, they need to get more experience. And then Kemba Walker's he's not a winner either. He's barely made the playoffs
His
his
number
entire
one,
career.
playoff highlight that I
Yeah.
remember, and I remember seeing him win, the college championship when he was playing
Yeah, yeah.
at Carolina. If I'm getting that right,
UConn.
UConn. Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
UConn, yeah.
UConn. I remember watching that Final Four. Um, but his number one highlight was when they played
Mm.
the Heat in the first round, and Dwayne Wade was getting into it with the man wearing purple in the front row. Like he wasn't even fighting with anybody on the Hornets. It was a feud between the courtside fan and Dwayne Wade. Like that was the beef, and so that's the number one highlight I can remember from Kemba's playoff career. That's all well
Yeah.
and good, but I think he understands he's going to be third fiddle. It's his job to figure out how to contribute consistently when they need it throughout the game to keep these guys afloat when they're on the bench, when Tatum's on the bench, just like Robert was saying.
Mm. Yeah, and I think the shooting numbers show that, he's accepted that he's a third fiddle.
Hmm.
Uh, because even though, Jaylen Brown obviously struggled throughout this whole game, but well, I'm not really too worried about him struggling like throughout the rest of the season. Uh, and I think it's good that he kept shooting throughout the game. He didn't lose confidence. Like he kept trying to support his team,
And get the
and
shots up.
and try to
Hmm.
get the shots up.
Break the seal. It's like Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook once said.
Hmm.
I used to rag on Russell Westbrook a lot when he was on the Thunder.
Hmm.
And there are times where Russell's doing a lot to command the offense. Everything flows through him. He's dribbling up court. He's seeing, guys like Steven Adams, Andre Roberson,
Hmm.
non-shooters to his left and right. Domantas Sabonis before he got developed, and Victor Oladipo was like trying to figure his way out before he went to the Pacers. So this is a few years ago. But
Hmm.
Russell's dribbling, and he's thinking to himself, "All right, I'm gonna pass it around, get the offense going. And what's a better shot? Andre Robertson in the corner, or me just shooting it right now? I'm just gonna shoot it
Yeah.
right now because that's the best shot that we
Yeah.
have. So that
Hmm.
logic, definitely rings true to me to an extent. So even if Jalen Brown's having an off night, I'm happy with him shooting because the
Hmm.
way that he's been electric all season long, I think he's earned the right to shoot his way out of the slump. And he made a big fourth quarter shot, to try to keep it within six, going down the
Hmm.
stretch. So stuff like that's important.
Uh, you got
Before,
something? Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, can we never play an NBA game again with two refs? That was
Oh,
trash.
dude, yeah, no, you're right, you're right. And so those poor refs, I felt bad for them. They were missing
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
their head their head ref, who I'm
They
blanking on the name. I read it earlier.
they're
But when they announced that one of the guys was in COVID protocol, I said, you know who enjoyed this the last time I remember it happening? The Cavaliers were playing against X team. It might have been the Warriors, and a ref went
Mm.
down mid-game, and Kyrie Irving said, "Okay, this is better for us because we know the angles that the refs can't see." And who went for 40 points this game? Kyrie Irving. You can ask my roommate who was watching here with me. Joe, I said it. Kyrie Irving is the one that's going to take advantage of this. And then 40 points dropped on these boys,
Mhm.
dropped on these refs. 40 points from Kyrie.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense that the vets, they know how to take advantage of refs and positioning and all that kind of stuff. Uh, Shout out to Robert Williams the third, the Time Lord. I didn't know that was his nickname. That's a badass nickname.
Do you know why his nickname is the Time Lord?
No, I have no
Robin, do you
idea.
know?
Because like, didn't the guy say like not this time or something
Nah,
like
nah,
that?
nah,
I don't
nah.
know.
Okay, well, for the
I'm
listeners that
negative.
might not know, his nickname is the Time Lord because when he got drafted, I believe he slept through, or he's getting drafted. I believe he slept through an interview or his first workout with the Celtics. Then his first
Mm.
practice came, and he slept through that too. So he ended up having to get an apartment across the street from the practice facility, so he wouldn't be late to practice. So
Oh my God.
combine that with his impeccable timing, five blocks,
Yeah,
five count them,
yeah.
five
And
blocks.
they were really good.
Yeah, super athletic, great, apex of his jump kind of blocks.
Mhm.
Not no easy ones. So combine that with his timing and athleticism, he's the Time Lord. What a great nickname. He sounds like a Marvel superhero.
Yeah, yeah, he does. But yeah, yeah, like you said, he had 5 blocks. Like he was blocking shooters. I really wasn't expecting it. Like, normally shooters are pretty good at like getting it up quick and getting it over the taller guy, but nah, he was catching them, and it kind of caught me off guard. I'm just not used to seeing that. But and then he had that one dunk on when he had a mismatch on Landry Shamet, who also had a really good game, and
Oh yeah.
uh, yeah, but that dunk was crazy, and that was the first time I heard his nickname, the Time Lord. That that's that's fucking awesome.
All right, so do y'all want my negative shout out or my positive shout out first? Robin, you pick.
Let me hear your negative.
The negative one. Oh man. All right. Shout out to Jeff Teague. 5 points, minus 13 as far as his plus minus goes, which isn't a perfect stat, but it's like great. You missed 2 free throws, whatever. You got 5 points, one assist, one rebound, whatever. You did fine. But Jeff Teague, Jesus Christ, I'm so tired of watching him too. He makes nobody on the court better. Like he's literally just soaking up the minutes. Like, can you get someone going, get somebody a pass in the pocket, in the corner so they can shoot a three so that when you leave, after your 4 minute stint in the second quarter, that they can keep shooting well? Like, can you impact somebody positively that's not you? God, I would love that. Like watching him in Minnesota after he left Atlanta, like he was definitely the weakest of the five player of the month Hawks that made that All Star game that year. Like, oh
Mm,
man. And so he's just been riding the coattails of that Hawks success this entire time, which is unfortunate because he's not a terrible player, but he's just not a
yeah.
good fit for making anyone on this team better. Like now
Uh,
that they got Marcus Smart back, that's
yeah.
terrific. Kemba Walker, you never know if he's gonna be in the lineup or not. Besides Marcus Smart, who's going to be creating things for other people on this team besides Jalen Brown? Who can dribble and Jason Tatum? Who can dribble in a zigzag pattern? Almost nobody, except for Jeff Teague, but he don't pass to nobody. So anyway, that's my negative shout out. Robin, you got anything
Robin.
to say before I do my
Yeah.
positive shout out?
If I had to give it a negative shout out, it would be to Grant Williams.
Hmm.
This guy had 16 minutes, zero
Babyface Grant
points,
Williams.
minus 18. There was no point of this guy going in if he was gonna have 0 points. He had as many points as we did tonight. Like no.
That's one of my
Tony's
favorite ways to say anything. What were you gonna say?
no, no, normally I would say Tony Snell numbers, but he had a game winner tonight. Which is like literally the most shocking thing in the world to me. I mean, yeah, it's cool that he made that. This whole season has been like the wildest, like weirdest season. Like just in general, it feels like a fever dream to me. But that's besides the point.
So many fluctuations from week to week. And my
Yeah.
positive shout out that I was going to bring up, Bruce Brown. I know you were 2 for 9. I know you had a horrible free throw percent or field goal percentage, but I'm just giving this kind of a culmination of games that I've been watching for the Nets in the past week or so. That guy is such a I will do anything for this team to win guy,
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
in. He's like a
A
two
good.
guard,
Yeah.
but they play him
Yeah.
as a power forward,
I
Robin.
know.
Make that
I
face all
know.
you want. He's like, I'll do anything y'all say. James
Team
Harden,
player for
Kyrie
sure.
Irving, y'all take all the shots. He just tries to get all the offensive putbacks,
Yep.
rolls to the rim, runs the pick and roll.
So
Like
yeah.
he's the roll man, and just tries
Hmm.
to do all the dirty work. And I'm in. I love it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Bruce Brown, you be looking like Dennis Rodman out there. But the real Dennis Rodman award is not even a guy that's in this game. I shouted him out last week. Josh Hart. He's the one that does all the dirty work in the whole league. Like, I fucking love that guy. If I was building a roster today,
Oh yeah.
my eighth man undoubtedly would be Josh Hart if I had
Your
my own
eighth
pick.
Yeah.
man?
Yeah, eighth man. Yeah, because he's not like a
Is
starter.
that a compliment at
Yeah.
that point?
Yeah, it's a compliment. On
Uh,
my championship team that I'm building, Josh Hart,
Yeah.
eighth man.
Mhm.
Because you get the star players in there, top seven, but you need a glue guy, and that's Josh Hart. So,
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you need a guy that plays hard. I know what you mean,
yep.
Richard.
Thanks, Kyle.
Robin doesn't know about
Kyle's always
this.
got my back. Robin's always like looking at me crazy, but that's fine. I appreciate
I just didn't think that was like a compliment, but hey man, whatever y'all want to say.
it. Did you guys have anything else to add to this game before we move on to the next one?
Uh, no, not really. I mean, yeah, just I was just highlighting the defense on both ends. You know, like you said earlier, Boston had like more steals, they forced more turnovers, they had more
Hmm.
blocks. Like, it was just, Kyrie was just a one man army out there. And then when it wasn't him, like James Harden. And the thing is with James Harden now on the Nets, like it's not just him. It's like him getting his teammates involved and making stuff easier for his teammates.
He has
And then,
always gotten his teammates involved. I'm just saying this to the
well,
fans that want to hate on James Harden. But anyway,
well, yeah, but this time, like it's just like it's more of a I I guess it's kind of more of a first option in his head in a
Mhm.
way. It's just a lot.
Well,
I don't know if it's the scheme that they're in
yeah,
or
well, they're
it's
running more pick and roll, so
yeah.
they're more of a pick and roll heavy team with DeAndre Jordan in the lineup, of course.
Hmm.
So it's a lot less like James Harden doesn't need anybody on the court to score.
Hmm.
Like he
Hmm.
needs none of
Yeah.
y'all's complex
Yeah, yeah.
actions to do any
Mm-mm.
mismatching. He's a mismatch against anyone that's on the court. But since the
Hmm.
Steve Nash and Nets and Kevin Durant scheme is to run some pick and roll, then more guys are involved. They're running around and they're more likely to receive a pass in rhythm, in motion, roll into the rim like Bruce Brown does. So I definitely see what you mean. It's definitely more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, but James Harden has never been lacking in these skills. Just putting that out there.
Is it Mike D'Antoni on that Brooklyn bench too?
Yeah, he's the assistant coach. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
Steve
yeah.
Nash's assistant.
So I just find it kind of odd that he didn't really incorporate that uh when he was in Houston, but oh
Hey man, it's a GM coach combo. He says,
well.
James Harden, do what you want. And it got them to more wins against the Warriors with Kevin Durant than any other franchise did. So that's a small feather in their cap, at least. Before Robin takes me down for saying that, shall we move on to the next game, which was the
Yeah,
Warriors versus the Clippers? A
yeah,
shellacking, if
yeah,
there was one.
yeah, yeah. For Brooklyn and Boston, Brooklyn, the final score was 121 to 109.
Oh,
So
appreciate the housekeeping, Kyle.
yeah, yeah.
Robin, take it away.
And yeah, and okay, cool. I forgot I was doing it. So it started off, it started off with the Clippers and Warriors. Obviously, last time they played, I believe that the Clippers blew a big lead, if
Hmm.
I wasn't mistaken. So it started off. Ibaka actually had quick 5 points. I was thinking it was the finals or something. I don't know what this came from. And then the
Ibaka,
Warriors
bro.
they kind of like kept in there. They were only down two at the end of the first quarter. So whatever the Clippers did, they would kind of respond. In my thinking, the whole game was, can they keep it up, especially when Steph goes to the bench, because they got a bunch of no-name people coming in. I think this guy's name was like Mannion. I'd never
Yeah,
heard of that
yeah.
guy, but yeah, he
Nico
looked like Andy
Mannion.
Dalton. Yeah. Anyways, in the second quarter, the
He
Clippers kind of outscored him by 14. And then Kawhi had a quick early 20 points in the first half, so Kawhi was
Mhm.
kind of carrying them. And I kind of liked how Paul George was playing more of the facilitator, who was kind of taking the ball down the court. In the third quarter, Paul George had 13 points, so kind of just cut them up. And then there was really nothing to talk about in the fourth quarter. It's
Dude,
kind of a quick recap,
Yeah,
honestly. I'm not gonna. It was just really a two-quarter game, two and a half
yeah.
quarter game, really.
he was stuck in automatic, man. Paul George is shooting over 45% from three for the year,
Hmm.
and it's like, what are you gonna do? I was talking to my roommate. I was like, man, they gotta extend this 3-point line out some to make it more difficult for these boys. Like, they gotta change something in the next 10 years, guys. If we're
Uh,
still doing the show, there's gonna be an extended 3-point line. Just to
uh,
foreshadow that for y'all.
I it's funny because I was thinking about how can they kind of tone down the 3-point shooting, and I was thinking like maybe they could make a hand checking legal again.
They could do that, or they could do something. I read this in a book recently called Sprawl Ball. If y'all want to check it
Hmm.
out, it's by Kirk Goldsberry, talking about widening the lane. So
Yeah.
they've always been, making it more difficult on centers, on physical defense, and the way that the referees call it, like a way more context allowed down low compared to out on the perimeter, really legislating the centers kind of out of the game. But just by widening the lane some, it'll allow a center to have more space because then defenders won't be able to camp out quite as close to them without getting called for a
Hmm.
defense to 3 seconds.
Hmm.
So giving them more room to operate down there compared to out of the 3-point line. So that was just another idea. But yeah, so 3-pointers galore. That this game was a blowout if there ever was one. I was about to say Kyrie Irving again. That's how much. That's how hot he was. But Steph Curry, first half, 0 for 5 from three, 3 for 11, and it
Yeah.
never got any closer from that afterwards. I mean, you can just check our group chat between us. We said, hey, if it's a 25-point game or greater with 9 minutes to go, let's go ahead and log on and get the show started.
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah.
we said. But
Yeah.
so that made me laugh. Uh, any big takeaways from this game, Kyle?
Uh, yeah. I mean, for me, it's Andrew Wiggins is he's so funny, man. At this
Why?
point, like he just contributes like nothing to winning. Like he was like the leading scorer up until like
Oh, the leading scorer.
uh yeah, yeah, or the leading scorer for Golden State until Kelly Oubre I believe passed him in the fourth quarter. He was the leading scorer with like 15, and like he's on this team. He plays solid on defense, but on offense, like it's just nothing. Like he's not really a threat. Like from anywhere, his decision making isn't the best. Uh, and even on his previous teams, like did he contribute to winning there? No. Did he? So it's just the same here, and it's just like uh, beginning of the season or when um Golden State got off to that hot start after the really slow start. Uh, they were saying, "Oh, he's playing well, and he's contributing and stuff like that." And in this game, he was the best one on, or he scored the most on Golden State, but he did like nothing to help the team win. Like the outcome would have stayed the same, irregardless of him playing well or not.
I mean, I got to give Golden State as an organization a lot of props for being so
Hmm.
good at coddling people. Not coddling people, but coddling Andrew
Yeah,
Wiggins. Like, so many
yeah.
reports coming out of their, media camps and their media scrums and their media Zoom calls talking about how Andrew is so locked in on defense. Draymond Green has really taken him under his wing. He's got so many
Hmm.
skills that need to be unlocked. He's so good at this and so good at that. It's like, man, how precocious do you need to be able to be coaxed into having a locked in game? Like, oh my God.
Hmm.
I wish that my boss would roll out a nice cushy red carpet for me to get to work. Like, send me a car. That's the equivalent. Send me an Uber, get me to work, buy my lunch every day, just so that I can do what I'm able to do. Not even to
Hmm.
overachieve. Just achieve what you're
Yeah.
supposed to be able to. That's the equivalent, guys. And that's what this guy's doing. And like props, he's a big body, like literally a big body. He gets a good amount of
Hmm.
rebounds, got big hands, got the skills, but how many assists do you think he has? Don't look at your stats, guys. How many assists did he have
He
this game?
probably he probably had like
He
two or
played
three.
he played how many minutes did he play? 28 minutes. Robin, what do you say?
I'll probably say 3.
He had 1 assist.
Jesus Christ.
And that's like a testament
Oh
to the
God.
shooting that the
Yeah.
Warriors had. You can't
Yeah,
get an
yeah,
assist if
yeah.
they don't make it, but
Hmm.
I don't think he's ever averaged more than 5 outside of that one
Mm.
stretch in Minnesota before he got traded. So,
Yeah,
um, they
yeah,
even mentioned on the air. Sorry, Kyle. I know we're gonna go right back
yeah.
to you. They mentioned on the air that Steve Kerr said we're not happy with the way the team looks. We're looking to make some moves by March 25th. So,
Hmm.
well, there might be some changes coming. Cam Bazemore out of there. Kelly Oubre Jr. out of there. Andrew Wiggins out of there.
Really? You think Kelly
No, I don't
Oubre will
know.
be
I
out of there?
I just know that these people that we don't like are gonna end up on the
Oh.
Mavericks at some point. That's how it always works. The Warriors always trade with the Mavericks. Like I don't get why. Uh, but did I interrupt you earlier, Carl? Or were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, going into this game, Golden State is sixth in defensive rating, and the Clippers were like 13th or 15th, something like that. So average defensively, but in this game today, defensive rating, doesn't matter all that much, or not anymore. When you're just able to shoot and also, the Clippers bench really showed how much deeper they are than Golden State's bench was. Uh, like when Curry and Draymond went out of the game, like there was no scoring, like at all. Like nobody could create a
Well,
shot.
if Draymond was
Uh,
in the game. There's no scoring. Uh huh.
well, yeah, that too. Draymond had a rough game. So did Steph. I was hoping like the start of the third quarter, Curry came out, he hit a three, to open up the quarter, and then Paul George came down and hit a three himself. And I was hoping, okay, maybe we'll have a game, Curry will heat up, and it it didn't happen. Paul George heated up, but not Curry.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I went into this game with high hopes. I was like, man,
Yeah.
free my man Luke
Yeah.
Kennard. Free Luke, because I know he
I
can
know
do a
he.
lot of different things, but over
Mhm.
3 from the field, it's so tough once you've been buried in the rotation. And he's had some minor injuries, but in general, when he was out there at the beginning of the season, um, they with Tyronn Lue and everything like that, he had some turnovers. So it's pretty easy to get
Mhm.
buried on a team that's so stacked the way that this Clippers team is. But
Mhm.
once you're in the garbage time rotation, it can be really tough to earn your way back into the starters or to the bench rotation without a major injury happening and you really showing out because
Mhm.
without being like a force in practice, where you're like, okay, this guy's giving me a lot of effort. We're gonna give him 10
Mhm.
minutes at the third quarter and see what he can do. Um, how do you earn your way back into that lineup without stroking some threes in garbage time or really facilitating or rebounding hard? How
Yeah.
are you going to
Yeah.
get a good look at a three when you're playing with a bunch of reserves and that offense isn't really clicking? They're not running plays very tightly, so he's not getting a lot of separation. Any player is not getting very much separation to shine out during that time. How do you bust back in? And now during COVID, they're not really practicing. The Clippers never practice anyway. So I wrote in my notes, free Luke Kennard, but he's gonna be cased for a long time unless there's some kind of injury. So that's what I had going into this game. Oh, and Lou Williams looking good. When does that happen? He's been looking rough. Patrick Beverly went
Yeah,
out
this
with a knee
season, yeah.
injury. He's been looking
Mhm.
rough this season, and both him and Lou Williams are on the trading block. But Lou Williams is like, please keep me 5 for 7 from the field, making his free throws, 1 for 2 from the 3-point line. So shouts to Lou Will. Any what's up,
I
Robin?
just
Yeah.
want to say, I want to give like a shout out to Paul George after all that playoff P, pandemic P slander he did in the bubble. Come back this season, All Star obviously, but just even though he was 5 for 14 and he didn't really get scoring until the third quarter, the fact that he can still kind of control the pace of the game, he had a plus 32. Like that kind of means that he's showing up on defense and he's letting his other people, aka Kawhi, score 20 in the first half. So it's
Mhm.
kind of nice. It's kind of nice that they can kind of go back and forth, and there can actually be a duo instead of one guy carrying the load one night and then they switch off the other night. Instead, they could just do it together every night. That's gonna make them a force in the West, like they should have been last year.
Mhm.
And then also, can I just say, I don't know why Reggie Jackson still gets minutes. I feel like that guy ruins their offense. Like you come off the bench and you're 1 for 7. Like you don't need to shoot 7
Yeah.
shots. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how to get that off my.
I agree with you. I mean, probably a couple years ago, I would have said, Reggie Jackson's probably a solid player, but now with the Clippers, it's he's not looking too hot.
Why you
He's
giving
a,
those crazy eyes, Rich?
Sorry,
he
I'm looking at Kyle crazy because a couple of years ago he was on the Pistons and I was burying him then. Good luck.
well, I guess I'm thinking of like when he was on OKC, coming off the bench, I believe.
Yeah, when he was like, "I'm a point guard in this league. You better trade me. I need to start." Yeah, nobody likes the guy that says that. That same thing happened with Scary Terry in Boston, who's looking good this season. But at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time, nobody likes when you rock the boat like that. Someone that says that Reggie Jackson was looking good in Detroit, and I know you're thinking back to Oklahoma, but somebody that says that he was looking good in Detroit obviously never watched Detroit play. The same way that now that Blake Griffin is on the Nets now, and people are like, "Oh man, they're too scary. This is unfair." Doesn't this make the league unbalanced? Are the same people that don't watch Detroit play? There's a theme here.
I mean,
People aren't watching the Pistons. Can you blame them? No, I guess
yeah, yeah,
not.
no,
But they're
yeah,
not
I was gonna
watching.
say
So
that.
if you're not watching, you can't say that there's this thing is unbalanced. You're not watching.
Uh,
Blake Griffin does not have defensive movement laterally anymore. I could dribble past him, and I can't dribble that fast. Like, definitely not an NBA level. He
Let's
can't
calm
move.
down. Let's calm down there. Let's
Sorry,
yeah,
calm
yeah,
down
sorry.
yeah.
there, buddy.
Whoa, whoa,
Let's calm down
hold
there,
your
buddy.
horses, hold your
All I'm
I
horses.
want
saying
to see
is,
this. I want to see this happen now.
I mean, if I can beat him, I'll try. I'll have a basketball in my. I got a basketball in my car at all times. If I see him, I'm gonna start dribbling. But but all I'm saying is, unless Blake Griffin was hiding something, not tanking the way that Vince Carter tanked on the Raptors all those years ago, but unless he can really be rejuvenated in some way and was really kind of reserving his effort because the Detroit Pistons weren't going anywhere, um, I think he's going to average like maybe 8 minutes a game, and hopefully he can win them a quarter in the playoffs if possible. Like he's not going to be a driving engine of the Nets. If anybody was fearful
Yeah.
about that, you can let go of that fear.
Uh, I mean, about like, people being, kind of overreacting about Blake Griffin going to the Nets. I guess like, when you look at the team like name value wise, kind of like brand name, like you see Blake Griffin, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan. You see a lot of big names and you're like, oh, like they could be scary. And Blake Griffin is obviously a big question mark. Like,
It's
you
like
know,
when
he didn't
mhm.
he didn't play well in Detroit. Even though I did not watch, Detroit games, like
It's
only people from
hey,
Detroit.
honesty is appreciated. All right. Jeremy
Yeah.
Grant says we don't need you, Kyle. That's what Jeremy Grant's saying. I'm gonna put 31 up on my own with no eyes in the dark. Just think back to when DeMarcus Cousins joined the Warriors. 5 All Stars. Like
Oh
the world
yeah.
almost blew up. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, it wasn't healthy anymore. But like
Yeah.
things just don't go the way it says it's gonna go on paper. Nobody thought that
Hmm.
Toronto was gonna win a championship in Kawhi's only year there. Something
Yeah.
unexpected happens every single year. People just want to act like the season's wrapped up, at the start of training camp, but it's just not how it goes. So hold
Hmm.
your horses. That's all I gotta say.
Uh, I was gonna say, back to what Robin, he kind of mentioned it. Nico, Mannion is his last name. I want to call him Manning for some reason, but Robin, you said he looked like Andy Dalton. He kind of played like Andy Dalton while he was out there too. He had a couple of interceptions out there,
Oh, got a
looking
couple
like,
steals.
yeah, no, he threw interceptions, like
Mm,
he
mm,
turned the
mm.
ball over. So he was looking like Andy Dalton in when he was in Cincinnati in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean he's a rookie, so you know, we'll cut him some slack, but he didn't have the best game. But also, the Clippers, they're top four in the West right now, and last year I feel like they probably had a much better chance of making it out of the West than uh, compared to this season. The top four and even probably like top five or six, like it's looking pretty tough. I mean, I believe the Clippers are kind of a sleeper team in the West. Uh, as far as you know, sleeper teams go. Like I'm kind of understating that, because they're not really a sleeper team, but with how good the other teams are out in the West. So don't look at me like that, Robin. You know what I mean. I mean, but the West is like just so good, and it's like everybody says the Lakers and stuff are shoo-ins, and but then also the Utah Jazz have come out like super hot, and then Phoenix has been really good. Chris Paul looks great. Devin Booker looks great. And then you have the Clippers. So it's like that's what I mean by a sleeper team. Like normally people, I mean, earlier in the season they were the like 2 or 3 seed, but still like they they should be competing for that first or second seed.
I think there's a lot to be said from a team, even if they fell short of expectations, that has just literally been to the playoffs with a
Hmm.
core in place, compared to the
Hmm.
Suns that had their perfect bubble run but didn't eventually go to the playoffs, and they have new pieces with Chris Paul. Um, I mean, would it surprise you if the Clippers and the Suns, one went on to the second round, the Clippers and the Suns, fell off and had a disappointing first round exit? It probably wouldn't surprise you because the Clippers have the reps, even though they didn't get
Hmm.
out of the second round last year. They've got the reps under their belt, so I think
Hmm.
that's a small point of pride. Making the playoffs last year is big, with their two
Yeah.
guys intact and getting those reps in. Those guys have been to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals. You know, Kawhi and Paul George both have, and now they've done it
Hmm.
together, and they're going to do it again. So I think that's a something that could bolster them going through this playoff run. So yeah, I'm with you, Kyle. People kind of want to count them out because of what happened last year, but I think that would make them stronger, if anything.
Hmm. Their team has definitely gotten, or it looks better so far
Hmm.
compared to last season. The addition of Serge Ibaka, veteran, and then also he's on Kawhi's good side too. One of Kawhi's good friends.
Yeah, he's someone
Uh,
that I think Kawhi
yeah,
would have a lot of confidence tossing it to at the
yeah,
end of a buzzer.
yeah.
At the end of the shot
Hmm.
clock. So
Hmm.
for sure, for sure. Well, we stretched this game out longer than I thought we would.
Yeah.
Robin, you got anything more to say on this one?
This game was nah. This game was a
Kind
simple one. This
yeah,
game
yeah.
was a simple
For
one.
me and Richard thought, we were smart picking Golden State.
I thought it would be
They
within
were,
7. Oh, so that leads us
yeah,
to
yeah.
it. Robin, can you give us a recap of what happened in these picks, and then
Yes,
we'll talk about
so
next week.
the Boston Nets game, it was the Nets minus 2.5. You guys picked the Nets. I picked Boston, thinking, it was
Mm,
time for a turnaround in Boston, and I was wrong. You guys got that one right. And then for the Clippers and Warriors, it was Clippers minus 7.5. I got that one right. You guys chose Steph Curry and a bunch of nobodies. You guys got that wrong. Bringing the overall, I think the month, if we're including the other one, it's gonna be Kyle's 3-1, Rich is 2-2, and then I am 1-3. Comeback season is coming strong.
we'll see. We'll see about that.
I'm on a one game streak. You guys are on a one game losing streak. That's all I gotta say.
Wow.
We're feeling good over here.
And we have to take a look and see what we think is going to be the perfect, payoff for whoever the loser is at
Yeah,
the end of
yeah.
this
Well,
month. So please let us know what you want us to do, and we'll take into consideration whether it
yeah,
be
yeah,
some humiliation on Instagram Live. Who knows? Something pre-recorded. We'll figure it out.
yeah,
Eating the
yeah.
hottest
Leave a
wings that
comment.
we can get from whatever wing place of choice. That might be a good one. So
Hmm.
we'll see about that.
We can
So what
also
do we got
just
going up?
buy the loser dinner. Something nice. It doesn't have to be rude. Just letting y'all know.
Oh,
Just in
yeah.
case. Just in case.
We'll put that in the suggestion box. But what do we got for next week? What's our preview?
Let me look. I have no idea. Not gonna lie.
Uh,
You got it, Kyle?
after no, no, no. I was gonna say, were y'all able to catch the All-Star game and all the festivities that went on?
Yeah, actually. What did what you guys think about the skills challenge? What you guys think about the 3-point challenge? What you guys think about the dunk contest?
Oh, we didn't even go over our picks for that.
Oh, you're right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I was right about the 3-point
And
contest.
I
I
was
know
right about
that.
the skills challenge.
And I wasn't right about anything, but that's because I stick to my guns, okay? We made our predictions. I put in Devin Booker for the 3-point shootout. I put him in for the All-Star game MVP on top of that. And he didn't
Hmm.
make the game. So I did the logical, honorable thing, and I said, all right, well then my horse is going to be Mike Conley.
Hey, he was
who
second.
who
Oh
almost
yeah,
won that three
yeah,
point contest. How
yeah. He
how good would I
almost
have
did.
looked if he had made that?
Yeah,
Steph Curry beat him on the final ball, which is insane.
yeah, yeah.
Um, which was terrific. A really exciting thing to watch, and
Hmm.
something that I think would have been impossible to have been less exciting, even in a weird format like this one, where they
Hmm.
put everything into that Sunday night. Man, that skills
Hmm.
competition. Luca was just like half jogging, like he did
Yeah,
not
he
want to
don't
be there.
care.
Yeah.
He don't
He
care. He,
he put up three. He looks like he's been in the league 10 years. He put up three shots in the All Star game. It was like whatever. I don't
Oh
care.
yeah, yeah, he was chilling. I mean,
Uh,
I'm sure that was just cause like part of it's cause like he might be more of a like I guess kind of like passive and maybe
Differential.
like oh yeah, he's like just chilling like oh I'll let these guys shoot, I'll let that guy shoot, because a lot of those guys are more established and have been around longer in the league, so
I mean, he doesn't
Right.
have the hops to kind of show off those flashy dunks, and he's not gonna
yeah
have
he
the range like Damian Lillard or Steph Curry. So he's kind of just,
Unless he's on the left side of the floor, then he's got the range.
yes. Then he does, and the game is like almost over. Then yes,
Yeah.
that's when. For next week, it would be the Utah Jazz at the Wizards. I don't know how that
Oh,
game
dang.
is
What's the line going to
on.
be on that one?
It's like
mm,
-17 probably. And then it's the Hornets, so we get to watch LaMelo against the Lakers at LA,
Awesome.
which is
That's going to be a
actually a
lot of
kind
fun.
of entertaining game. Yeah.
And then, so did we give the results of our All Star picks? What was the record for each person? Because
Um.
I picked somebody for each. We picked somebody for each event.
mm.
Yes. So I got the skills challenge. Kyle got the 3 point. You got
Mm.
nothing on the
Yeah,
pregame of the dunk contest, and then I picked Team LeBron. I think we all picked Team LeBron, right?
I think I picked Team Durant, but I mean none of us got the MVP right, so I
Right.
think
Right. So for doing all that, I think I have two. Rich, you got the Team LeBron right. Devin Booker obviously was not MVP. And
And
then
we'll
Kyle.
factor that in to like a tiebreaker basically. So we'll save these
yeah,
results, and if there's two people losing at the end of the month on the regular picks, we'll throw in the All Star to see who turns the
Okay.
tide.
All
Okay.
right. All right.
Cool. Cool.
uh,
Cool.
but yeah, I mean the skills challenge, it's cool and all. It's not my favorite event,
I mean,
just cause
how many
just
skills
cause
are you really showing off? Like they don't dribble
yeah,
that hard. They don't
yeah,
pass very much. It's like with two passes through a hoop, and then they
hmm
have a layup and a one shot. Like I know that those are all things you do on the basketball court, but like, remember, did you ever play Madden? Growing up on your Xbox or PlayStation, and you had to do those different training camp drills where like at the combine where the quarterback and you're trying to dodge the tennis balls, or you're
Yeah.
punting and you got to get it right into the corner. Like I want to
Yeah.
see
yeah.
like some real special stuff. Like let's
That
throw outlet
that's a great
passes.
idea.
Let's throw outlet passes like Kevin Love. See who's got the best outlet pass. Let's see who can dribble blindfolded. Like
Hmm.
the Steph Curry warm up with the two basketballs. Let's all do that. I want to see those
Yeah.
things at the All Star game.
Honestly, that sounds like a great idea because the skills challenge right now it's just an okay event to me because just because like you see like some players don't try that hard and you know I chose Chris Paul to win the skills challenge. He's gone like 0-6 now in the skills challenge. But I'm pretty sure that's just because he doesn't put like his full effort into that. Uh,
Luckily for
uh,
y'all, I am on the NBA competition committee, so I will be putting in these suggestions for the next year's All Star game. And man, I feel bad, man. That Elam ending where they put the target score up, it's a great thing in theory, and I think it would have been a closer game and more tightly contested, but maybe some of the players were checked out. But the insurmountable lead put up by Giannis is 16 for 16. Steph Curry and Damian Lillard both going nuclear from all parts of the
yeah.
court put up a score that was just too insurmountable for Team Durant to come on, and like I get Kevin Durant wants to pick his guys, Harden and Kyrie Irving, but
Mhm.
when you're going top down and you're splitting up the two best players, and then ideally you go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to keep things even, you totally break up the balance when you go with Kyrie Irving, the
Mhm.
11th or 12th best guy in the All Star game, or depending, and then you go with James Harden, depending. Uh, James
Whoa.
Harden, the because there's 24 of them. He's not top 7. not consistently. And then James Harden, the fifth, sixth, seventh best guy, depending on who's playing and who's hot that night. When those are your top three spots, you're letting LeBron get the second, fourth, fifth guys on his side. So that's what led to that lopsidedness. He had Anthony Davis and Giannis on his team, and Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, too lopsided. So when it came up to the target score, they had 24 points. It's like, cool. Team LeBron's got to get 24 points. Team Durant's got to get 60 points, or it was like 45 points, but so big of a hole.
Couple
But
of
next
injuries
year,
though too.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
too.
what I
That
was gonna
too.
say.
No Ben Simmons, no Embiid, no
But they were on
KD.
opposing teams too. Those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think next year's the year is going to be competitive, kind of like it was that first year.
Mhm.
So
Uh, I kind of don't think too highly of Giannis's 16 for 16, just because of how uncompetitive the majority of this game was. Like he, most of his shots were at the rim,
bruh, he had
and
three
like
threes though.
I know he had three threes, and
Kyle's
the
just hating.
the most ridiculous thing is he banked in two of them. He banked in
Yeah,
two of
but
them,
did
which
you?
is like
But did you see him call it?
no.
Oh, I
He had a
did.
I don't know.
step back three in the corner, Kyle.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too, but
It's like
like,
when Clay made those like 10 plus threes in that one quarter against Sacramento, put up those
Yeah.
37 points or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Clay was throwing up everything. Like he was like, I don't
Mhm.
care where I'm at, give me the ball, I'm hot. He shot it. He did not pass off a shot that was too difficult. Giannis did the same thing, shooting whatever was there. So you can't hate.
Yeah.
He got the
Kyle's
All-Star game.
hating
I
big
just don't
time.
I just don't think it was that impressive. I was
It's an
just like
All-Star game.
like
You sound like James Harden.
I know.
Yeah.
James Harden
I sound
once,
like James Harden.
yeah, he once was like, yeah, I mean, if I was big and tall, I would dunk too, you know?
Yeah, I
That's
know.
what he said.
I agree with him on that. Yeah, I was like, dude, most of the shots are like him dunking or like getting an oop or just like doing a turnaround like kind of like hook shot or
He's
something like that. And then he had the three threes, but like I said, the defense was not there during the All-Star
you
game,
you sounding like
like
Shaq.
it was last year.
Sound like
You
Stephen A.
sounded like
Smith.
Shaq when Shaq was talking about Luka saying, "I've seen that before." That's exactly how you're sounding right now.
No,
Just
okay.
give that man his props. Just move on.
And
Well,
move on.
okay.
60 for
Okay.
16 is still a nice feat, no matter what type of game it's in.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
I can't even go
I
16 for
I
16 with no defense and at 24-hour fitness.
I mean, I mean, I chose Damian Lillard to be my All-Star Game MVP. I kind of feel like he got robbed. Uh, he was hitting half-court shots, and he hit a half-court game winner. Like, I was like, he had 31 points. I was like, come on,
Tell me,
So
dude, look up the box
you're
score.
hating on Giannis just because your pick was wrong.
no. I mean, not just because my pick is wrong, but like Damian Lillard and Stephen Curry both had a case for All-Star Game MVP. They're hitting half-court shots like nothing. Like, I mean, Damian Lillard had like one or two like warm-up half-court shots, but after that, like they were like automatic. That's insane. Like then the skill. Why are you rubbing your eyes, Robbie? You're acting like that's not crazy. That's mind-blowing, bro. Like they're half court, and they're shooting it like it's normal.
Dunking 13 times is a skill too.
Yeah.
Now,
16 for 16. Who can say that? Who can say that in an
All right.
All-Star game? Just
All right,
one.
let's end this episode because Kyle's brain is breaking. I appreciate everyone that's made it to this point of the podcast. Thank you for listening thus far. Thank you for taking in Kyle's reactions to Robin trolling him. We are the Shot Callers.
we just value different things, Robin.
We stand against bigotry and hatred in our society. We're found
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Apple Podcasts. We're found on Spotify. We're on Pocket Cast, Breaker. We're on Radio FM, I think. We're on Stitcher. What were you gonna say, Kyle?
No, I was gonna say you guys should really watch us on YouTube. You're missing out on a good amount of content if you don't watch us on YouTube.
Do both. Subscribe, watch us
Yeah,
on YouTube,
yeah.
and then if you run out of time when you get in the car,
Or
throw us on
or if you
podcast
miss
form
something,
on the way.
yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We're on youtube.com. Search up the Shot Callers. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification icon so we can let you know about new content that's coming your way from us, straight from the studio. And Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Where can they find us on Instagram and Twitter, guys?
Shot
At
callers.
Shotcallers Show.
Show.
Shotcallers Show. We've
Yeah,
revamped
yeah,
those pages,
Shotcallers.
so please reach
Yeah,
out. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Alex who was interacting with us, letting us know that the last episode
yeah.
was the funniest yet and wants more stuff from Kyle. So keep up on the hot takes, Kyle. People want your fashion advice, I guess.
Those those yellow LeBron jerseys, they were fire.
You like them?
Can't lie.
I wasn't
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't much of a fan. But anyway, so thank you guys for following. Thank you for listening. For Kyle, for Robin, I'm Richard, and we are the Shot Callers. We will catch you guys next time.